What is going on, guys? So this is the first episode of the Lion's Den podcast that I am doing. The goal here is to upload once a week, probably every Saturday to start off with. So to introduce people that I'm going to be having on here a lot is first Steve, who is my manager, whatever you want to call him, family friend manager. He's a personality. And then we got Wissam, who's started off as a friend now, or as a fan kind of now friend. Anyways, yeah, so one of the, I guess to get into this, to start off with the first pod, we were really thinking, one of my most commonly asked questions in this social media thing is yo, Alex, how did you start? Where did you come from? Kind of just the backstory. I feel like this would be a good, first episode, kind of seeing how I started everything, how Steve played a big role into my, success on social media, how I started from literally washing cars, for him. I
mean, honestly, I think you were better at washing cars than what you're doing now. But
yeah, that's debatable. It's definitely debatable. But yeah. So I think the best way to start, honestly, because I wouldn't be where I'm, and people don't even know that yet. Well, they'll see this pod, is I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for you, what you've done for me. So I think it starts of why you do what you do for me, which is, I guess you can start from there.
I do what I do for you because of your dad, honestly. I mean, he's done a lot for me. When I was 15 years old, he gave me a shot when nobody else would. So all my friends were working at McDonald's. I was driving brand new Hondas, and I didn't even have a license. So, I mean, I'm very grateful for what he's done. And that's why I continue to help you. And, I mean, that's the biggest thing, and I mean, I see a lot what you're doing for people. I think it's very, very helpful in people's lives. I'm kind of astounded by the stuff that I see, when we go somewhere and you have somebody come up. It's not I don't know, it's kind of surreal when, a kid comes up to you and says, hey, you changed my life, or, you don't realize what you did. I mean, just last night at the diner, who, you know what I mean? And people don't, it's crazy because people don't even know that, you're from this area. What are you doing in this area?
I get that all the time. He's yeah, I went to Howard. What are you doing in Howard County? He's I went to Howard High School. I don't know. I feel like they think I'm supposed to be living in a nice house in LA or something. That's the thing. I
mean, eventually, but it's just crazy for me to see I never from day one, I told you, I thought this, I don't think you're half of where you're going to be at in the future. I think you got a lot more to come. But, I guess tomorrow, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But, I believed in you from the gate. I can remember the first time that you and Joey were sitting at the dealership, and we're like, man, Joey told you should do YouTube. You should do YouTube. And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have the texts of it. He was yo, why don't you come by? Let's go to the gym and film something.
Yeah, and then he's like, next thing you know, they're in a car on their way to Virginia to buy a $400 camera.
Canon M50 was the first camera. Well, actually, I had a different one, which was ass, because I was too cheap. And then I got a little bit better deal on a solid camera, which was I guess a beginner camera is the Canon M50. So yeah, I remember Joey's my filmer. If you guys have definitely probably seen him a little bit before. He helps me with my videos, films for me and takes my pictures for the Instagram. And we drove down to Virginia. It was a 3.5, 4 hour drive. We had hella traffic to buy from this guy.
An hour.
Yeah. To buy from this guy after Joey, we got off of work, right? And then we went and got the Canon M50, and then I had to get some lenses for it, and we started messing around at the gym. And this is around, I think, when COVID started. It was right when it started,
early 2020.
It was in 2020 is when I started on TikTok, and I started. It was my first cut too. It was my first time I was cutting down. I was always kind of bulked up, and I started growing my hair out that year, and I started my cut, and I got pretty shredded. I got lean. And that's when the TikTok started popping. But what's crazy is I thought it was popping back then, and it's really been exponential in the last 8 months. But that's when I really started. 100%. And I was taking classes in college. I just got my what is it? Associate's degree in business administration at a community college. And then I went to I was gonna go to a 4-year, transferring to a 4-year, and I was doing classes there. And I hated it. And I was I remember I had 2,000 followers on Instagram, and I was doing a project for this business stats class. And I looked at it. It was in my bedroom. I was like, I ain't doing this. I straight up said to myself, I remember I clicked out of it. I didn't even withdraw the classes. I didn't tell my dad or mom that I wasn't doing school no more. I just stopped working. I stopped doing all of it. And I wasn't making any money, you know what I mean? And I just I'm just, have fun with the social media stuff, see where it goes, upload on YouTube twice a week. The big thing that I had, which I think was a big part of my success, was I had a thing. A lot of people get caught up in the long run. It was like, what can I do today that's going to lead me to my long-term goal? So I had like a whiteboard that said like, I need to get 3 TikToks out today, I need to post on Instagram today, need to go live today. And I would make sure I did those every day, because if you get kind of too stressed out on the long-term thing, like things of where you're at, you can like low-key mess yourself up in the present.
Yeah.
So I was just like, what can I do today to get to that goal, rather than what should I be doing a month ahead? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People get too caught up.
And I think a big part of your success was when the deals started to come. It wasn't just like a money grab. That's the biggest thing, where I think most kids would say, somebody's going to give me $3,000 to do X. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. Back then it was it was a shitload of money.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? But it was like, I'm like, dude, take the money. You're like, oh, I don't really like this. Or, if something would come in and they're like, here, try this. And if you like
Bunch
it.
of free shit.
Yeah, it was like, I still today, I mean, boxes and cases, and of a lot of it's useless shit. But I mean, the deals that came, you kind of cherry picked them and you didn't grab for the money, and that's most kids, I think, would have done that. I'm not gonna lie, I would have done it. I mean, that's just my mentality. Get what I can get as fast as I can get it. But I mean, you didn't do that, and that's, a lot of people wouldn't walk away from that kind of money. They would say, it's $3,000. I got $100 in my bank account. I mean, you're very fortunate. You come from a good family. Your dad's very successful, so I think that you had like the perfect storm. But I mean, let's be honest, you started a business at the absolute worst time you could start a business. It's like everybody who was going to start a business at the beginning of COVID was like, no, we'll hold off. And here we are. I mean, it's still not back to normal, but I mean,
it was an absolute shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Like you took a very big risk doing that.
But what did I told you from day one, what did I say?
Yeah, one of the things you always told me was, first, like when we went to negotiate with a company, you said, yo, it's like getting in on Facebook offer. Or I remember you used to say like it's getting in like on a stock, like at the beginning. That's how you always spoke about me to people, to companies. But you and Joey said it could pop.
It's so yeah, and the big thing is genuine, just being genuine. And a lot of people, I mean, listen, a lot of people it's done for the camera. It's, I don't know. I would say, most people, it's like an act, but and I'll be honest with you, if I didn't know you, I would think it was an act. Right?
Yeah, well, people try to say that. People who hate on me, they say it's fake.
But the thing is, like, I wish we had like a big ass hotel and you could just invite everybody here, and they could stay here forever and see that it's not fake. I mean, I don't push God on nobody. I should go to church. I don't, like I should. I go. To be honest, I go when I'm not feeling when I'm. Stuff's not going right,
well,
and I know that's the absolute worst thing to do, but I'm man enough to admit it, right? I've never believed that you had to have a relationship with God to where I've always been taught you can drive down the street and talk to him, he's going to listen. But for you and your dad, it's not that. It's I mean, I've seen your dad do some pretty amazing things for people in general, but it's not an act, and it's
a conviction. It's through. I get the same feeling sometimes. It's the Holy Spirit speaking within you, and it's telling you to do something. It's God speaking through you.
And I can see why most people. I mean, I'm a firm believer of like, I don't judge anybody, prejudge them for what. I don't look at somebody and say, like, I don't look at the pastor at the church. My cousin's a pastor, so I don't look at him and say, oh, you're a pastor at a church, you shouldn't drive a brand new Escalade. I mean, because not all of those guys are not. It's not always about money. I understand that, but most people they'll look at a preacher and say, "Oh, why is he driving an Escalade?" Well, most of those guys have other ways of income. They have more than one source of income.
Yeah,
most of them are paid very, very
like
little
money.
money.
Like the mega pastors, a lot of them write books, and their books are bestsellers, and they make good money off the books.
And now, is there a lot of people that are, fake and use God to
false prophet? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I think
Joel Osteen.
Come on,
of
man.
them.
You can't be talking about Joel. I like Joel Osteen.
Bro, that's the thing because listen to this because
I already know.
If it is a pastor that gets you hyped up and gets you want to go on your feet, it's that's not the right pastor. The pastor Paul Washer, one of my favorite pastors, he makes you feel bad about he makes you feel convicted because they tell you that you are doing something wrong, that you need to change your way of living. While a lot of these mega church pastors, and that's why they get a lot of people because it's appealing, they're like motivational speakers. They don't try to speak to your heart telling you need to change. They just say like, hey, like it's going to get better, just get through this.
Yeah.
But the pastors that really speak to you and will really change your life are the ones that tell you, hey, like you need help, you need to change, you need to turn against your ways.
I agree with that.
But it can help you. I'm not gonna lie, it's a good transition because when I was in my darkest moments and I was suffering really bad with depression, anxiety, like Stephen Furtick, some of these like mega church pastors really helped me feel like I was gonna be saved. I was gonna be helped, and like it was motivating to me. And then after I kind of, that was like all I needed to kind of like start to get interested in the faith. And then I started getting deeper into it. Now I kind of know deeper, like, hey, like some pastors probably aren't the best to watch as you become a Christian, but those are good ones to learn about, the basis of Christianity, how to become one. They didn't realize how deep it can get. Like the faith, there's so many faith level Christians, these guys who just like go to church every once in a while or maybe go to mass on Christmas, but they don't get, but they don't get how deep it can get. Like for example, like when I'm really good in my faith and I'm doing like my worship music and I'm singing it, bro, it gets so deep to where like that's the best part of my day or it's the most fulfilling thing. More fulfilling than anything. Like for example, like bro, on everything I love, like I'm not a virgin. I've told people that, but like when I've experienced God in his full presence, like genuinely, like, I don't know, maybe and I'm like doing like a worship song or something, it is the most fulfilling thing, more fulfilling than having sex with a woman.
Absolutely.
It's the most fulfilling thing I've experienced in my entire life. And as a normal person, like who's just the same as anybody watching this, like I can full on say that.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you can attest that every ounce of success, like I know you mentioned it a lot, but every ounce of success that you've gotten is through God. And I can attest to that as well. And I can attest to that as well. Because like anything that I've done in my life or like these past few months has come exactly after I've prayed and I've asked God for all these things that are coming into my life. Like that's 100% why. And I firmly believe that.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I 100% believe there's a God. I mean, listen, I barely graduated high school and look where I am now. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the truth. When I was 18, my mom said, hey, what do you want to do? Are you going to college? No. Okay. Well, where are you moving? Because you can't stay here. That was the deal. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you got to move on. You got to experience life. You got to do this and you got to do that. And, everything happens for a reason. So I believe 100% there's a God, and without a doubt. But I think that he definitely has been very, very good to me. I don't deserve what I have. I mean, I have a great wife, an awesome wife who puts up with a lot because I'm not the easiest person to get along with.
You work a lot too.
I do.
You're always away from home.
Like you would think I'm the perfect. I thought I was like the perfect husband, but I guess that's not the perfect husband. So I would say I was always a better provider, and I know this is a horrible thing to say, but I can admit my mistakes. So, if I could do anything differently, if I could trade, I mean, I'd probably, if I could go back, I would take less money and more time with my family. That's the biggest, that's the biggest mistake I ever made. Because, it's, I mean, it chokes me up to even talk about it, but I always thought that being a good provider was like the way to be a man, and like that's what your family wanted. Like they want the big house, and be able
to go on vacations. And
and the crazy thing is, like, I provided all that, right? I had the big house, I had the nice cars, I have, I'm not bitching because I would trade the way I did life. I would, and I think that that's a big part of, as growing as a person is admitting, like, I made a mistake, which I did. Like, I have an 18-year-old daughter that I look at her today, I'm like, holy shit, where'd that time go?
Yeah, flew by.
I can remember, it seems like just yesterday, she's going to kindergarten, and, I gave up field trips. I gave up, everything. To what? So she could go to a nice private school. So, she's going to go to a college. I'm going to be able to pay for that. But I actually asked my daughter one time, I said, let me ask you a question. And, it was kind of like, I just felt terrible. It was like, I asked that question, but I didn't really want that answer. Like, because I already knew the answer, right? You know, if we didn't have what we had now, would you have been happier if I was there more? And her answer was absolutely yes. Yeah. You know, you missed this and you missed that. And then, so the whole time I thought I was helping them, and my wife, I mean, God, dude, and she's done everything. I mean, literally, I didn't do anything but make money. You know, she kept the house. She did everything. So, and it was like, I look at it now and I'm like, damn, like, she was a single parent. And was for what? For cars, for money. The biggest thing I would say to anybody out there is time is the most valuable thing, right? And I used to care about what everybody thought about me, like an image, like, you know, I always thought you had to have a nice car. I mean, you see what I drive now. I drive an old pickup truck. I don't give a shit about money. Money is a byproduct at this point.
It's what you give it. You give it value, then it's valuable. If you don't, it's not.
At some point in your life, in anybody's life, they're going to realize it's not about the car. It's not about the house. It's about who's in the house. It's about who's in the car. It's about taking the car and driving it to a family trip. Because at the end of this, you ain't never seen a Brinks truck follow nobody to a graveyard. It doesn't happen.
And
you know, the memories, dude. You have to build memories with people
that you keep close to you.
Yeah, and as far as, you know, what other people think about you, so somebody once told me, you know, for you to care about what somebody else thinks about you, a few things got to come into play. You got to A, care about that person, like love them, and B, you have to really respect that person. And if you don't respect that person, then who cares what they think about you? And that's the biggest thing. Like, I literally can count on my hand, you know, I probably have less than 20 people. So I can't count on my hands and toes. I could count with, you know, 20 people that I really care about, if that person, you know, how they feel about me. But the rest of and that's the biggest thing, is like social acceptance, right? Yeah. You, and always trying to, even with you, it's like, I mean, I see what you do for people, and then I see, you know, it doesn't matter who, and I'm not going to say any names or anything, but just the fact that people, it's like, this is a slimy business. Like, I thought it was like a good business to be in.
You would think the fitness industry would be good, like, oh, helping people be better than, but it's not. It's the opposite.
No, it's like opposite. It's and the thing is, like, when it, you know, I was like, the first time, like when that guy made a video about you, I'm like this kid doesn't mess with nobody. He stays in his own lane. I mean, Joey has access to your DM, so he's like, he shows me all the time, like, look at this dude, look at this guy says, look at this kid says, you know, you inspired me, you know, some of my darkest days. That shit's deep.
Yeah, and then I get some deep.
Yeah, and then you have people that, you know, just come for you for no reason.
They've never met you in your entire life. Like, they've never took a second to shake your hand and look at you in the eyes.
Yeah, and then you know, you take a mistake. Like, there's nobody in this. It says what's it say in the Bible? He without sin cast the first stone. Yeah. There's nobody that's perfect, and that's the biggest thing that, you know, I've always said about you. You're like, you know, don't idolize me, because I'm gonna make mistakes.
That's the issue. Is these kids will idolize me and they see one little mess up or flaw, and they're like, oh shit. I
mean, I mean, but it's good to have somebody to look up to. It really is. It's great to have somebody to look up to, but it's also, you know, everybody's gonna make mistakes. It doesn't. I mean, everybody makes them.
Yeah, it's just, I have a platform, so you're more likely to see my mistake.
You're the easiest target.
Yeah, correct. You know? And there's always going to be the guy who, it's like no different than any reality TV show. People don't watch Jersey Housewives because it's like they're going on vacations. They watch it because they know
there's drama.
It's that shit's about to pop off, and they like that. You think that those people don't, you know, they're not. I mean, why do you think, you know, like Maury? You're not the father. That's you know, like, how many years did he do that? And it's still great every time he does it,
like
right?
The Jerry Springer shit you mentioned earlier.
And that was the greatest show in the world until they made him stop fighting. And then it wasn't that. I watched it. I mean, I used to come home from school when I was a kid and watch it. Jerry, that shit was great. But then when he stopped fighting, I'm like, I don't watch that show anymore. It's not funny. But I mean, I think that's the biggest thing with what I've seen is, so with all the great success and all the good things that have happened, it's more of like, you know, it's those times where, you know, you do something like, you know, the recent shit that happened with the Photoshop, and then you have people crucifying you, saying that oh, if this guy is a real Christian, then why would he do that? I mean, that's totally come on, man. That doesn't even make sense. If you're a fake Christian because dude, there's not nobody who hasn't done something wrong, and I mean. Yeah. The thing is like, how many times do you apologize, or not even apologize? How many times do you acknowledge that you did something wrong and you move on from it? I believe that you only have to, if you do something wrong to me and you say, hey, I screwed up. I don't even want you to say I'm sorry, right? Just the fact that you've acknowledged that you did something, I'm okay with that. You don't have to tell me 1,000 times that you're sorry. I'm not going to say, oh, you're not a Christian because you did that. And I'm not defending you because it's you. I'm saying that for anybody. Everything doesn't work for everybody. It's just like, you've had some great people, even people that we did business with in the past that like gave you the shot when there was not really nothing to give. That's says a lot. And those people, one guy, I still text him today. I still like the dude. You know what I mean? I'm perfectly fine. He gave you a shot. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name, but he gave you a shot when there was not a shot to be given, and he had no business to do it, and he invested a lot in you, and I respect him for that. Yeah. It just, some things just don't work out, and unfortunately, you moved on to bigger and better things. But I think that another thing to take in this, in this whole industry is like, don't burn a bridge just because you've advanced and moved a little bit further, or somebody that you're working with is, a little bit bigger, or, it's just a better fit for you. Doesn't mean that you should talk shit about the people that you worked with. Yeah. Right. I would rather just say, for me, somebody works for me and they come up to me and say, hey, listen, I found a better job. I'm not going to be upset with that person. I'm going to say, hey, well, thank you. I appreciate you. I may be upset that I have to replace that person, especially if they were a good person, right? Because it's hard to find people that you can replace and just plug them right in. But I'm not going to be to where I'm going to wish them not to have success. You know what I mean? And that's, I don't think there's any company that we've ever done business with that we couldn't go back to. I know there's not. Like, I could pick up the phone and we'd be right back if we wanted to. But, that's the biggest thing is like, I don't know, the biggest thing that I see with this whole industry is like the animosity that could just be, it's all for the hype. Like, one person does something, right? And then it's like 6 or 7 other people.
Well, yeah, because what people are now realizing is, honestly, they can get clout and they get views off of shitting on other people. 100%. Or they don't have any quality. This is what I was telling you guys earlier, is like, people don't know any content to provide value of themselves because it doesn't do good. People don't like their content. But yet they get views when they shit on somebody, or because they see the name. They flip it. Yeah, so like I'll watch these people have no views on their channel, right? Yeah. Or whatever their feed, whatever it may be. Then they'll make a video trying to shit on me, having Alex Eubank like in the title, whatever it may be. Next thing you know, it's one of their best performing like TikToks or videos, and it's just like, bro, like.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like you're at such a point in your career that like you had no turmoil or any chaos attached to your name. So when somebody makes a video saying that there's something that you've done wrong, it's like, whoa, like there's no way. Yeah, what did he do? There's no way. Like, what did he do? But I think for me,
it sells, man.
Yeah,
it sells.
Absolutely,
it's drama. They love it, and then everybody online feeds
drives.
into it.
Chaos drives people.
Not everybody, dude. You have tons and tons and tons of people that are like, hey, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about that. No. And dude, I've made friends with. Even through like this last stuff that happened, like I made friends with people and talked to people and have, I think have built a pretty good relationship with, people that I would have never even been able to talk to. But because of this,
we're cool with everybody.
Yeah, it's because of what happened. Like, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but you know what I mean? It was just the fact that that happened, and we got to make friends with other people and reach out and talk to people, and now we've kind of like, there's other people that are with companies that we're with that still actually should reach out, and it's better if everybody gets along. And I understand like it's not feasible for everybody to get along, but because it doesn't sell to everybody to get along. Some people have to beef, you know what I mean? And like you said,
beef's so stupid though. It's just like I don't know. I don't get why everybody can like. It's like rivalries, and like I'm sure everybody already knows like what we're talking about in terms of these like dumbass rivalries. But like, bro, I'm like, if you want to support one company, bro, or somebody on one company, bro, just do it. If you want to support, you don't gotta just
literally clothes.
Yeah, like you don't gotta just stick on one side and like it's like it's if you're not on that side, like it's blood. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's what people get like, and bro, it's not that deep, and people trying to make it that deep just because like they love the drama, they love the beef. Yeah. But
sells, man.
People love sides to choose.
It's stupid. And then this is the issue too. Like for example, when someone will try to bring something to light or make an accusation, whatever it may be, it's like if you either you don't reply to it and then people take that guy's word over yours, or you reply to it and you just add more.
It's like what you said earlier with
gas
the
to
M&M
it,
thing.
and then next thing you know they're replying to it, and it's just like so what do? You can't win in it. You can't win in it. It's such a toxic ass thing to do. And one person asked me on my Instagram earlier. They said, "Has all the success made you bring you happy? Has it brought you happiness?" And with the way I responded, and I wish I could have done it longer on Instagram, is that like it's fixed some problems, you know what I mean? It's fixed, you know, me. It's made me, I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about certain things. It's been giving me a lot more security in myself because I feel like I'm more of I'm closer to my end goal, being able to be a provider and stuff like that. But it brings other problems because now it's like I have to put on a facade because, again, I upload literally every single day of the week. You guys see my content, either it's stories, YouTube, whatever it is. And obviously I'm not a good, happy, motivated person 24/7, 365 days of the year. And I got to put on this front and it gets really lonely. It gets lonely and toxic because like
very taxing.
It's like imagine having to fake that you're happy and that you're motivated and you're doing good, filming a whole YouTube video in a day when really you're not doing good. You feel like shit. You feel depressed. You just want to stay in your room all day, but I can't because I know I have a goal in my mind. It's toxic though. Yeah. And people don't see that side. They see the social media shit. They see the cars. They see like what the money could be, and they're like, "Yo, like I want that." All these kids want to be social media influencers, but when you take it to heart like I do, and I really want to grind and be the best in anything that I do, it gets lonely. It gets depressing. You get worn out. It's sometimes I want to quit, but I know I know I won't. You know what I mean? But it's just like I like look like earlier today. I'm like, damn, like what the fuck? Yeah. Like it's just this.
It's a gift and a curse.
I'm like I'm blessed. And I'll say I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm not complaining about anything. I am so blessed. And I realize somebody always has a worse. But like I said, like it brings a little bit of happiness. But also again, there's new battles I got to deal with. You know what I mean? And also what I want to point on is we talked about earlier a little bit about like money. Money will not make you happy. It can bring you short bursts of happiness. You know, when you go to buy something new and then you're cool, you're like, oh, this is dope for like a week, and then after the week, that feeling fades.
It's just another thing that's sitting in a corner. It's not getting used.
Yeah, and
or a car that ain't getting driven, or a boat that won't be used. Or,
but when you bought it, you're like all hyped up about it. But
I think the real happiness comes is like, for me at least, like my family is like my number one priority in anything that I do. And like I'm the second oldest of 6 kids, and there's 8 of us in the house. My dad's older now. So like money for me is an outlet to support my family, you know? Although that like you said, it comes in short bursts. It's not something that's going to last forever. Like when my dad dies, God forbid anytime soon, he's not going to put money in the grave with him. That's not going to go with him. You know, he's going to remember how his son made him feel, or what his son did for him, or what he did for his family, what he did for his the people around him. That's what's going to go with him, his legacy and who he was.
The only reason I like I'm so big right now, and with Steve's probably helped me make like 4 times the amount of money, probably more than that, 100%. What I would have made on my own. He's just really good at negotiating contracts. We could talk about that maybe later, like the whole idea of like how contracts work and then how influencers make money.
But you put the content, you built the perfect platform for. Listen, a car's worth what a car is worth, right?
Yeah.
A house is worth what a house is worth. You're worth what you're worth.
But you just help people not.
No, he just showed you that. He showed you it.
Yeah, I mean,
you get the value of what
you know, again, we dealt with a lot of really good companies. I mean, you pass on so much. Like, honestly, I'd like to pick up some of the scraps.
We passed on some big money before.
But like, I mean, just recently, like, a big number, and I'm like, why don't you think about this? You're like, nah, it's not for me. Like, I'm like, damn, man, I should go to the gym, but I'm too lazy. So
that's what I'm saying. That's why it's so appealing to everybody. But the reason why I grind, I want to make money. Like I want to do. It's not that I want to make money. I want to be able to live the life I want to live. My biggest goal in my life is to have a family, because obviously I have like, you know, my mom and my dad, but it was a complete fucked up family. I wouldn't even call it a family, because it was. I don't even remember anything. All I remember is just I'm an only child. I have divorced parents, and it was a pretty bad divorce. And I had a blessed childhood, but I had a rough mental. I don't know. It wasn't the best, right? Yeah. And I would always, even when I got a little older, I would look at families on vacations, and I would almost get mad and jealous.
Like your situation,
because I wish I had either if it was siblings or like just seeing a happy family, or I'd watch like the Home Alone movie and see them have like a Christmas dinner at the end of it, and I'd be like, wow, like I wish I could do that.
These are things that you grew up like. That's normal for them, but I never had it,
and I crave it. So all I want to do is I want to make as much money as I can so that, as soon as possible, so I can have the time. I want to retire early so I can build a family and actually be able to like spend time with them and live the life through my kids that I wish I would have had for my own. Yeah. Whatever wife I have or whatever kids I have, I want to be able to like live my childhood through him or through my son, whatever it may be, again, and give him give him those dinners on Christmas Eve.
And don't do what I did. I mean, I'm the perfect example of what not to do. Again, I was a great provider. I still am. I'm a great provider. I've always been gifted to. I mean, literally, like I barely graduated high school. Like college wasn't an option for me. That would have been a total waste of money. Yeah. I've always had, a hustling mentality. So, but my biggest mistake in life that I can't fix at this point, I can only
because it's time
readjust. Yeah, is that I traded time for money. Just recently, I had something. I'm not going to go into it, but I had a great opportunity, and just not too long ago, I still have some issues going on, but I can remember I'm sitting in the hospital. I'm like, dude, is this it for me? Like, yeah. And then I start thinking, like,
some people might know about that.
I got shit to do. You know what I mean? But I decided that day, I was like, you know what? No more do I trade money for time. Yeah. I give the time that I need, because not that I'm filthy rich, right? I'm not rich, but I have more than I'll ever need.
Yeah, more than
I'm lucky.
You're chilling.
I mean, I could go buy a Lamborghini. I don't want one. I'd rather have I'd rather have your boy. I just talked you out of buying one. I'm like, dude, why? You don't need a Lamborghini.
Yeah, no.
So I mean, I've done all that, right? I've had, your dad will tell you, I've had Escalades and Navigators and you name it, boats and jet skis and all that shit. I wish I could have the money back, because none of that ever brought me happiness. It was just like something that filled a void, and then,
when it goes away, it comes back.
I mean, but, and I've honestly, I've not had money, and then I've had money, and if I think back on it, as crazy as it sounds, like, I can't answer it 100% whether I was happier without money or with money. So when I say when I didn't have money, like I wasn't like in poverty level, but I was making like $30,000 a year, $35,000 a year.
It's pretty ass.
Yeah, but I mean, I was happy though. I had a townhouse, dude. My mortgage on my first townhouse was $149. So $149. You know what I mean? I paid like $45,000. I put some money down, and then life happened, and then I had my daughter, and that, it was like, shit, nobody ever, but I can remember when I bought my first house, I was like, dude, what am I gonna do about curtains? Nobody ever told me you needed curtains. Nobody ever told me you needed silverware, right? Because all that was provided before. But I think the biggest thing is try to slow your life down. Like I can remember, and I'm sure you can, like when you were in high school, you're like, damn man, I can't wait to get out of here. I hate high school. Yeah. And then a day came and you graduated. My daughter just graduated, last week, and I'm like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, I went back to that feeling. I guarantee you, your dad did too. The day that I graduated it should have been like a happy day for me, but I was empty. I was like, now what?
There's not, what
do I do now?
I graduated in my dad's car because of COVID. Yeah. It was the worst day of my life.
My nephew did too. It was a drive-by graduation.
It was terrible. I was so depressed that day. Like genuinely, I was so down that day. It was awful.
But to be honest with you, I went over a stage, right? And I barely made it over that stage. Honestly, like when I left, when I got back to the thing, I'm like, let me open this up and make sure there's actually a diploma in here, because they might have hit the blank.
Some students
paper.
They don't put it in there.
Yeah, they might have hit the blank paper on me. It was that bad. But I mean, again, I wouldn't trade. That's the biggest thing I could say to anybody is, your time is the most valuable thing. Yeah. Get what you're worth. If you, and with like, if this is the life that you choose to be an influencer, you never in life has anyone ever been successful by themselves.
No.
If you're going to be successful, you have to have a small circle of people that can help you. That's how you become successful, because those people will always be there to, on the bad days, to motivate you, on the good days to humble you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what anybody, like, I mean.
And you're really good at that. You are very good at that.
Because I keep it 100%. If you do something wrong, what do I say?
Yeah.
And when
that's not right.
When we do something good, you're like, all right, what's next now?
Yeah.
Like,
but
put your head down and grind.
I don't believe in, you don't never praise somebody. You just say, hey, good job, and move on. Like, but when somebody does something that they shouldn't do, you again, say something and move on. I don't believe in beating a dead horse. You just move on, you know. Yeah. But that's like, you know, getting back to it, like, if this is the life that a person chooses to be an influencer, it's not easy. And I honestly, like, I used to be like, call you up, be like, Alex, what are you doing? I'm just waking up. I'm like, bro, it's 10 o'clock. Like, I've been up since 5:30. Yeah. And you're like, dude, I was up till like 12 o'clock. I'm like, you're up till 12 o'clock doing what? What could you possibly be doing at 12 o'clock at night?
Editing.
I'm streaming. Like, I didn't know all that. And I'm like, and Joey's like, yeah, man, he's streaming, he's doing this. I'm like, why? Why is he doing that? Like, I thought it was just YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about, like, TikTok. Like, what is TikTok? My daughter's on it, and she's flipping through all these things. I'm like, what is that? It's like, oh, it's TikTok. Oh, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm all people think it's like an easy thing. If you take it like me, bro, I'm always doing shit. I'm always doing shit. I have no, and this is what I'm saying. I gave up 99% of my social life. I got no snap streaks. I have no friends who aren't like in the industry that can like help me make more. You know what I mean? Where I'm there's no free time for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I make any time I'm, you know, that's why I made the streaming even into a way to make money, because I didn't want to feel like, and I love playing video games. I grew up playing video games. I didn't want to feel like I was wasting 2-3 hours out of my day not making money or not becoming more successful. So I was like, yo, let's do Twitch. Let's start streaming. You know what I mean? And I wanted to find a way to, literally every time my dad calls me, he's like, what are you doing? I swear sometimes he thinks I'm being lazy as shit. And I'm like, I get pissed when he calls me all the time because I'm like,
do the same thing. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why?
Like, I'm editing or I'm filming.
That. Like, but I mean, if you don't see it, like, I'll be honest with you, I didn't see it. And, you know, it's just crazy that it takes that much time, and it's so consuming.
That's what people don't understand.
It's consuming. All these people, all these influencers. I mean, it doesn't matter who. I mean, any of them. You know, it's tough. It's not easy. I used to think it was easy. I used to tell Joey, I'd be like, Joey, you need to do that, man. And then I look at it, and I'm like, shit, that's a lot of work. Is it really? I mean, it's good money, but is it really worth it? You know what I mean? Yeah. And the cost of just doing. I mean, look at these guys that are like, you know. You look at, like, Steve will do it. Like, I support him because I love what he does. Like, I see what he does. But those videos that he makes, it's time consuming. That's professional people
those
editing it.
Those editors are on that. They spend a lot of time. Even like
a
Brad's
lot
editor,
of money.
Bro.
A lot of money. I mean,
Jacob's a dog.
Yeah, I mean,
bro, like me just getting my editor is making my life so much. It's making it's worth it 100%. Not having to edit.
This is the thing that people don't understand about getting in the industry is that it's a lot more time consuming. No, not at all. But you have to take risks. Like,
remember when I bought my first that A7S III? I was like, shit. I put my debit card and that thing said $3,800. Like, damn, bro. I was probably with the Dallas.
It's an investment in yourself.
Like, this bitch better be nice for that. Like, and look at where I'm at on Instagram now. You know what I mean? Like, we're about to hit a mill.
Steve, when I went out to LA, like, I had to convince my parents to let me go, first of all, because I only had $1,000 in my bank account. And I told my mom and dad, I was like, listen, like, if you trust me to do this, I promise you I will give it my all to make something happen out of it. And I went out there. I had like $400 to spend within a week in LA, the biggest one, if not the biggest city in the US. And I took a shot on myself. And like, thank God, I'm nowhere, like I said, nowhere near where I want to be, like you said. But you have to take a shot on yourself. And what people don't understand about wanting to get into the fitness industry is that you have to sacrifice so much if you truly believe in what you're doing. Yeah. It's almost, you have to become almost delusional in a sense in how much you believe in yourself.
I mean, that's with anything, though. I mean, not just this game, it's in any game. I mean, if I listened to half the people that said, you know, so one time when I first got into buying and selling houses, this is a true story. So I went and looked at this house. I should not have been doing that, but like I did. The house I lived in, and That's how I got into real estate, but that's for another day. So I wasn't qualified really to like look at a house and say, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
So it's a true story, man. And this was probably one of the darkest days of my life. So I found this guy that had this house for sale. He was an old man. And I'm like, how much do you want for it? And he's like, I don't know, back then it was like $120,000. I'm like, I mean, today it'd be like probably giving him like 500 grand. And I was like, oh, it's a single family house. Like, yeah, it's going to work. I never even went inside the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome, man. I'm going to buy this house. I'm going to make some money. It's going to be easy, right? Because I thought, I watched all those shows, Flip This House and this, that, and other. If they can do it in 30 minutes, I can surely do it in, 60 days. This is easy. So I swear I'll never forget this. Even my wife was when we first got married. And, she supported me. She does. God, she's been on a ride, but I bought this house. It wasn't not in the greatest neighborhood, but it was like what I could afford to do. So I'll never forget it, man. I bought the house. I go to the settlement, get it done. I come back. The first sign that I shouldn't have bought the house is every single door on the house had padlocks on it. Oh, I didn't have no keys, and the old man didn't have any keys neither. So I'm like, I got to kick the door in. No, I'm not going to do that. So I go to Home Depot, buy some bolt cutters, cut the lock. As I go in, I hear this hissing noise. I'm like, man, is that gas? I said, man. So I hurried up. I went out. Again, I was not qualified to make the decision I had already done. And I was like, that's not gas. That's too loud. Dude, I literally started walking around the house, and I'm so stupid. I'm like, let me check the basement. I'll go to the basement door. Your dad will tell you, there was like 5 foot of water in the basement. It was up to like, it was deeper than that. Yeah. I swear. This is a true story. I walked out and I took every single penny that I had. I had like 20 grand to fix this house left. Yeah. And that was it. That was all I had. It was 20 grand. I financed the house. I didn't have that kind of money to put that up. So I walked outside and literally, like, people say like something to just beat them in their life. That beat me to a pulp. I swear it's a true story. I sat on the front steps and I said, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah. Interesting that.
What did I do? Oh my God. So I called my dad up and I'm like, I need you to come over here. And like, he's at the bar. It was a Friday night. He's at the bar. And I'm like, come over here, and I didn't even have the heart to tell my wife what I did. Cause like financially, like this could have ruined me. Yeah. And, again, I financed the house. So I'm holding the bag for 120 grand. The house is worth back then you could get a loan. Like, no stip loans. You could get a loan. You didn't even have to have good credit. If you paid enough interest, they take the shot because the values of the houses were climbing. It was right before the last crash. So my dad comes over and he's like, holy shit, did you go in this house before you bought it? And I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, stupid. Are you crazy? He's like, how much do you think you're going to have to put? My dad's a contractor. He's like, and I've been around this my whole life, but I don't know how much a piece of drywall costs. You know what I mean? In my original house that I sold, my dad, his guys did all the work. So he goes, how much do you have to put in this house? And I'm like, I got 20 grand. And he's like, you're kidding me. I'm like, no, dude, I got 20 grand. He's like, you have nowhere near what you need. He goes, you got to put 80 grand in this house. It'll cost you 80,000, dude. So, he was upset. I was upset. And then when he left, I literally sat on that porch for like
thinking your whole life
for 3 hours. I swear to God, dude, I got off of work at 5 o'clock. I sat on that porch till like 9 o'clock, till it was about this time of year. So it was dark. And I've never, ever been so defeated in my life. But you know what? I was like, I called my wife and I'm like, you got to come look at this house. And that was like the first time that like, I really felt like, I was like, she's definitely the one. Cause she had my back. Like she was like, look, you can do this. I know you can do it. And literally I took, as crazy as it sounds, like there's always a way. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because I'm telling you there's always a way in life. Never, ever, ever say never, because there's always a way. And literally, this is how I fixed that problem. I said, you know what? You're right. I can do this. If I got to do this house myself, so I don't have to pay anybody. I've been around it. I know how to put windows in. I know how to do siding. I know how to do electrical. I know how to do plumbing. I can put a roof on a house. I've done all this stuff. So can I do it? Yeah. Is it going to take us more time? Yeah. Literally, I had already sold my other house that I was living in.
Yeah.
So my option was to go live with my wife's grandparents. Yeah. Like literally, I put all my stuff in the storage when we sold it. I moved to her grandparents' house. I went up to that house every single day. I got to I had like $2,000 left. I was well short of what I needed. So I was like, you know what? Whenever I bought that house, I had to pay my wife. I used money from when I sold my house to pay my wife at a Honda Pilot. So I took the Pilot. As crazy as it sounds, I traded it in because I didn't know any money on it. And I was like, I want to trade it in, but I don't want to put any money down. It was worth like 30 grand. I said, I want to take all the money and I'll just have a high payment.
Yeah.
So I knew that I had X amount of time, and it was a gamble, dude. It was a huge gamble, but I knew I had X amount of time to get it done before I could refinance the house, get it a point where I could now pay the new car off, or at least get it down to a point where, I could afford it. Because I couldn't afford it. I was, I could only afford it for like 5 months. And I knew that. And I did it. And from that point forward, I've always said, there's absolutely nothing that I can't do.
Yeah, nothing can stop you.
Dude, I believe it. There's nothing.
What'd you sell it for?
So I paid $120 for the house. I put 50 grand in it. But I did everything, and I put granite countertops. I didn't put the countertops in. I had a guy, but I ripped every piece of. Your dad will tell you I gutted the house. I ripped every piece of drywall out. I put side and windows, doors, all new electricals because it was all garbage. It was old aluminum wire, so it was a fire hazard, and so I ripped everything out. I put about 50 grand in it. I lived there for, I think, 2 years, so I didn't have to. I knew that if I lived there for 2 years, I didn't have to pay capital gains tax.
Yeah,
and that was like, if I lived there, it was a perfect storm, dude. So your mom actually was selling real estate back then, and I said, you know what, I'll give her a shot to come over, and she was just started it, so she came over and she looked at it and she was like, the comps in the area. I thought the house was worth like, I don't know, 200 grand, so I'd have like $30,000 of equity. Yeah. And she's like, I think you get 300,000 for it. We're gonna list it for 299, and I'm like, huh? It's like, no,
this is the one you was talking about.
Yeah, so
you got 299 for it.
So I put it on the market. Literally, it was on the market for not even a day. My wife and her mom and dad were sitting on my deck, eating crabs, and these people pull up, and the guy gets out of the car. He says, "Hey, I'm a real estate agent. We were just looking at a house around the corner, and I seen that this sign went up." He goes, I can't find it online. I said, literally, the sign just went in. It's going to go active tomorrow. And the guy goes, what are you going to ask for it? I said, here, call, this lady. And he goes, well, you don't know what you're going to ask? I said, we're going to ask like $299 for it. He goes, well, can I walk through the house? And I'm like, I looked at my wife's like, no, don't want. I'm like, shit, this is a potential sale. Yeah. Absolutely, come on. Yeah. I didn't. Come on, let's go. So they come in, they walk to the house, and I had a big garage out back of the house, and the guy was a mechanic, right? And I could tell he was a mechanic just by looking at his hands. He had, he's like, I just got off of work. I'm sorry. I said, no, you're good. So they took their shoes off. We walked through the house, and I knew that they were going to buy this house, right? Because the wife's like, oh, this is, this person's room, and this will work like this. Oh my God. And like the people, I just knew it. Like I've always had an instinct. I know I have like a sixth sense where my gut feeling is always right. I never go against it. So I said, okay, these people are going to buy it. So I called your mom. I'm like, these people, she's like, why did you let them go through the house? I was like, I don't know, because I feel like they're going to buy this house. And she goes, hold on 1 second. Somebody's calling me. It was the real estate agent. So he said, look, we're going to give you full price on the house. The only contingency that we would have is if he'll leave the pool table, and there was like a couple arcade games. That pool table is like 10,000 pounds. I didn't want to move it anyway. Yeah. And most people, when they get a pool table, it just becomes something to, it's like decoration. It's like the treadmill at my house. Yeah. I put my clothes on it. I'm not using it. You know what I mean? But that's what, and I was like, she called me back, and I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll do it. Well, then the people couldn't get financed for the whole amount. So they were like, I don't know, like 15,000 short. So I'd have had to sell for 285, and I mean, this is a crazy story, but so I was like, no, I'm not selling it for 285 because I had that $300,000 number in my head, and that's like I was the hang up for me. I was like, man, I already had that extra 10,000 or 15,000 spent, and I'm like, nah, I'm not, no. And your mom's like, Steve, you need to take this deal. This is a good
over
deal.
The value, yeah.
The reason they can't get financed is because we just shot too far out. It's $15,000 over what it's going to appraise for, and I'm like, and your dad called me up. He's like, don't be stupid, take the deal. And I was like, I took the deal. So I was like, you know what? All right. He's always, anytime I've ever won against him, it's never like, he's even better at me than knowing what the situation's going to be.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll take the deal. So I took the deal, and this is a true story. I swear to God. So that night they were eating crabs. My wife loves crabs. So the night before, we had like a party. And so the next day on a Saturday, that was on a Friday. The next day, this is like 2 weeks after the original people looked at the house. So the next Saturday, 2 Saturdays later, my wife and my daughter and all, they're sitting out. I only had one daughter at that time. They're sitting out on a porch, and literally you hear boom, and this car. I mean, it got
smashed into it.
It smashed into the house right next door to me, and I'm like, holy shit! Like literally,
just like that.
I was like, if I wouldn't have taken that deal, like the news, the news was out there and they were like trying to interview me. I'm like, hell no, I'm not getting on the news. I don't even want these people that just bought the house even to see it. I'm like, man, I hope they don't come back. And, because it was a high speed, like the car, somebody stole like one of my neighbor's car, went on a high speed chase. And, thank God nobody got hurt. It was an old lady that actually lived in a house, and she always sat in the front window. Like every day when I came home from work, she'd wave to me. And I was like, when the car went through the window, like I was like, oh shit. Like I didn't even open my fence. I leaped over the fence, ran to the house, and the cops, I'm like, there's an old lady, because I didn't realize that she had just went on vacation that day with her family. Damn. Like, wow. So I kicked the front door, and I went in the house, and like all I could think was, please God, don't let her be sitting on that rocking chair in that front window. And she was gone. And so they locked the guy up, and I'm like, dude, if I wouldn't have taken that deal, I mean, they literally destroyed this lady's house. I mean, and it was all over the news. And I'm like, if I wouldn't have taken that deal, and the crazy thing is literally 30 days after that happened, the whole market just collapsed. Yeah. That house went, oh my God.
Back in 08?
I mean, it just, the market went from that house, me getting 285 or 290, I forget what I got for it, to that house now was worth like 150 grand, 170,000.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's why I'm saying, like,
still recording, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm so blessed for the things that I've had in life, and just had, and that's a big part of your success, is being open to listening to that third person that says, hey, that's not a good deal, or let's talk about this, or let's wait, because there might be a better deal to come. We just had that happen too. So there's always a better deal. It's always about just waiting it out and
being patient in your decision.
I mean, trusting your instinct.
But getting back to my original story, that was a total beat down. I should have been bankrupt. I should have, that should have financially ruined me.
Yeah, and if you would have given up, you wouldn't have.
Dude.
Then you'd be chalked.
2 years later, I walked away with, at that time, I ended up, I was working a lot of overtime and doing things. So I've never liked owing money. Like I just, back in the day, that was my thing. Like, man, I just want to, get this paid off so I don't have that note over my head. And so I was constantly whacking at that. The next 2 years, I was whacking the payment, adding $1,000, adding $1,500. If I made extra money, I put it on there. So when I sold that house, I actually walked away with, after everything, I walked away with like $190,000, and I was making like 35 grand a year. That was like all the money in the world. And a lot of people are like, how did you get into real estate? That's the true way of how I got into doing it. Is I walked out of the settlement office, and I was like, I make 35 grand a year. I just made 150 grand realistically, or $100,000 on this house. Like, it would have took me 3 years to do that. And I was like, I'm on to something. I need to do this again.
Yeah.
And then I did it again. And then I can remember, like, I always, like, every time I would buy a house, I would try to. So I met a guy, and he told me you should do 3 in 1. I was like, what is that? He said, you buy 3 and fix them up. You take the profit from those 3 and you buy one and you keep it. And I was like, huh? I said, I don't want to be a landlord. Like, I hear all these crazy stories, and he's like, well, it's just like any other business. You got to know how to run it. I mean, you could have any successful business, 2 businesses that mimic each other. One guy's really good at running that business and the other guy's shitty. Yeah. Which one's going to do better? So, I mean, that's the biggest thing I would say in life. If I had any like input to give, a young person starting out, is even though it may be your darkest day, or you think you're beat up, or you just think you can't do it, as old saying, if you say you can do it, you can. If you say you can't, you can't. Yeah. It's that
state
mindset.
Of mind.
Yeah, it is.
State of mind.
No bigger. It's like if you can get in that mindset, like nothing scares me anymore. Like nothing. I can do anything as long as I have the people that are in my circle. Like I keep my circle very, 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 very small.
So do I.
And you have to. But again, you need a certain amount of people in your life to be, and you're going to need it too. You're going to see it. You're going to need these certain amount of people that are really genuinely pulling for you, because there's a lot of people. They have your best interest,
or they have a behind. Yeah.
There's a lot of people. I tell you this all the time. I told you this a long time ago. There's a lot of people that are rooting for you. Like, yeah, Alex, and then you have some people that are like, yeah, Alex, but really they're waiting for you to do something to fuck up, so they can be like, I told you that motherfucker was shit. I told you he was fake. I told you he was taking steroids. I told you that motherfucker didn't like God. I told you all that. That's the truth. Is that not? That's the truth.
Absolutely.
Like nobody wants to admit that.
But like, why do they do that? Like, is it insecurity, or like they preying on my downfall? Like,
I don't even think that it's that. I think that it's that.
Envy.
Everybody thinks that
big part of
what you're doing. Like, people look at me and they're like, oh, I have people all the time like, oh, you make all that money. Yeah, fucking work for it. I mean, literally, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I look for houses. I don't get home. Dude, my wife, I'll tell you, like, there's been times that my wife, I go home and my wife's like, who are you? Like,
you're always
no bullshit. Like, because I work 8 days a week. That's what I do. But again, I don't work like I used to work. And
you're chilling
but I want to be able to retire. When I'm 50 years old, I don't want to have to do anything. But I mean, I'm very, very blessed to be in the situation that I am. Even with working for Browns. I mean, that's dude, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I would not be in the place that I am if it was not for Browns. It wouldn't. I would have never had the initial investment money. I'd have never been able to save it. Yeah. I mean, dude, that company has been freaking. I mean, I don't know where I'd be without them. Yeah. And did I work for it? Yeah, I worked for it, but I was very fortunate to have, and I learned so much from the people around me. But I've always been that way since I was a kid. I've always been a sponge. Like, I always say, like, if I can learn something from someone, like literally, if you're an electrician and you'll teach me how to run electric, I'll work for you for free, because I can gain that knowledge,
and that's something valuable.
And then I don't have to pay somebody to do that job.
And what's crazy is people pay like these hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school, and this is like I'm not a big fan of college, because like I think unless you're in like a STEM field or a medical field, then I understand college. But other than that, bro, I mean, you're paying $100,000 to learn a business course from a person who's never run a successful business in their entire life. Like, why do you think they're a teacher? You know what I mean?
I agree with you on that.
Man, my wife's a teacher. We talking about no teacher.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying like you're learning from someone who's never even ran a credible, successful business, when you could like, I would be willing to rather like work for somebody or find a mentor where I do everything for them who already has that built, and I'll get so much more value out of that. So yeah.
I agree on that front, but like for me, there's kids that are being like paid to go to school, like as far as like scholarships and stuff. But if they genuinely enjoy what they're doing, like I'm going into digital media communications, so like that'll help with marketing with social media. It's like communicating with different people, like different companies, all that stuff. If you genuinely enjoy what you're doing, I see it. I can understand it. But 100%. If it's something like, for me, I started as a mechanical engineer because my entire family was mechanical engineers. Like that's just what we do. And I absolutely hated it. I dreaded every minute that I went to class, and it was Like it was during COVID, but still, I dreaded every single second waking up and having to go to class and learn about something that I genuinely wasn't interested in. So I had to take a second aside and be like, okay, is this something that I genuinely want to do for the rest of my life? And regardless of the amount of money that it made me, because I knew I wasn't going to be happy doing it. So I decided, no, like, let me do something that I genuinely enjoy, because I did photography in high school. So I put that to the side and was like, okay, this is something that I can see myself doing and enjoying it, not dreading it every day, which I think people get caught up in.
Like how I would in school.
I mean, same thing with me. Like, people are always saying, they're like, why do you work so much? To me, it's not work, right? I love...
You enjoy it.
I love to buy cars. I love selling cars. I love meeting new people. I've met, with like buying the old cars, I've met people at their the greatest day in the world because they've saved their money and they've always wanted a 69 Camaro or a Chevelle or whatever, and they finally can get it, and they come to me, and dude, that's like, I'm the one just fulfilling that dream. And people don't realize that. And and then I've seen people at the lowest point of their life when I go to someone's house and
they got to sell it.
They're selling it, or because someone died, or they've let it sit in the garage because their husband passed away, or and that shit like that gets me thinking, like, is that going to be my wife? Is she going to be selling? Because I have a few cars. Is my wife going to sell? That's it gets you thinking. Like, it puts a perspective and puts life in kind of like a bigger perspective. Like, damn, dude, it's like.
I realized that recently. We were talking about something like this with like, and whenever I think like something bad's happening to me, and I've seen like for example, there was one kid who was big on TikTok, who had cancer, bro. I remember seeing him when I first started, and I just saw him back on the For You page, bald, went through treatment completely different. And I'm just like, wow. Like, I really thought I was like down bad. Like, I would, like, every time I have like little events in my life where it seems like everything's going to shit, I'll like make jokes, be like, I'm going to off myself. And be like, to my dad, I'll be like, I can't do, if this shit goes like this, I'm done. Like, you might as well just shoot me, because I'm not going to want to live. But then I see that and I'm like, wow, like, I'm actually so entirely blessed, and it changes your perspective. It can switch like that. Like, you can be
always somebody that would trade places to where you're at. And
that's what I'm realizing. Yeah.
So, that's the biggest thing. It's like, as bad as it is, and listen, some people, hitting on saying that, you kill yourself or something like that. People are like, oh, that's the coward's way out. I don't think so. You know how brave you'd have to be to do that to yourself? Yeah. I mean, at what point, how bad does it have to be?
Well, you want to.
And some people do it because, and listen, if you're an overthinker, I think you're more prone to have that tick that is going to make you depressed.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like I used to be that same way. Like, I would overthink about things, and man, stop looking at that. It doesn't matter how long it is. We're jamming right now.
I was making sure.
I keep looking at the camera because you keep saying, like,
you said, make sure it's still going.
Yeah, I don't. How do I tell? I see red.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, man, come on.
Hopefully. The first one, we're learning.
Yeah, okay. But getting back to it's like that. Most people, they're in such a dark place when they do something like that. That, and that's why I'm big on, like, I go out. Your dad's like the same way. He's like, even somebody's like, your dad's like, hey, how you doing? Have a good day. And I'm like, yeah, how you doing? Have a good day. Like, and they don't even acknowledge you. And I'm like, and a long time ago, I used to be like, man, why? Why do you do that? And one day I said to him, I was like, dude, why are you so nice to everybody? And he said, you never know what someone's going. And this is 25 years ago, dude. I was a kid. And he's like, you never know what someone's going through. Yeah,
that's
you
true.
You never know what that person's thinking or what their next move is. And you just saying, hey, how you doing? Acknowledging the fact that they exist.
Yeah.
That could change the whole trajectory of somebody's life. And I think that's like huge. But, that's what, if more people were like that, I think the world would be a much better place. Or it's, again, like the guys like Steve will do it. Are they making a bag? Oh, hell yeah, right? But look at the money that this kid gives away. Even he's a kid to me, but look at the money that he gives away. Like, people are like, oh, I was at an art festival like a couple weeks ago. I buy shit all the time. And I don't buy it because like I'm a huge fan of his. I buy it because I like the cause. I like what he represents, what he stands for. Like, the fact that, like, Bradley was with him the other day and he called me. I'm like, I was like, dude, you know, I'm not fanboying you. I'm like, dude, you're fucking awesome. Like, the shit that you do. I mean, he goes to a total another fucking, you know, a country and gives the way he gives. He changes lives. Yeah. And that, again, I mean, that's so. I mean, but, it's so transparent.
So that you're talking about that. So people will see that, but yet people will still try to shit on Steve and like say stuff like, "Oh, you're doing it just for views," but at least he's fucking doing it. Like, what are you doing? So, like, what are you doing?
But you know, that's the biggest thing. Is like, what I see, and I don't do this, but I don't care that somebody does this. I don't give a shit that someone goes on TikTok and if they ride around and feed homeless people, right? I don't care that they record it. You know why? Because the people that are getting fed don't give a shit if they record it. So why should I care? But I look at that as a totally different thing.
At least he's fucking doing it.
How I look at it is, even though that guy is going out and feeding these people and he's recording it, right? So maybe that will incentivize you or me or him
to go do the same thing.
Not necessarily go do the same thing, right? Not to go out in the community and feed people, right? I mean, I don't have time for that. I wish I did. But I just don't. But I do what I can when I can. So, you know, I think that's, most people say, oh, well, if you're going to do something, you shouldn't record it. Well, it's no different than Pepsi putting a commercial on TV and saying, hey, you know, drink Pepsi. Like, that's why they're doing it. You know what I mean? It's just putting that in your head. Like, it's just a subliminal message. But these guys are... I just don't understand it, like why people get upset that somebody's recording that. If the person that's being fed is okay with doing it, then there should be absolutely. I don't care. Do that. Do it. If you're going to give somebody $100,000 or you know, do it. It's your money to do. If you're paying it forward, and if somebody's going to try to shit on you for doing that, I would never question what my cause. I would question why they would care if I'm
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you like, if you're going to go shit on somebody who's like recording, like helping a homeless person or recording like them giving to something to help a good cause, and you're shitting like, oh, you're just recording this, people like think you're a better person or whatever. Like, at least they're doing it. Like I said, like, what are you doing? Like, you're just sitting on your ass. I never see
people shitting on others when they like, I don't know, David Dobrik, like he buys his friend a fucking Tesla or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't see people shitting on him for doing that, but like you see other people shitting on others for giving to less fortunate. It doesn't make any sense. It's because like they think they're making themselves look right. Good.
Like, even if they did, it's your money.
Yeah.
It's you can do whatever you want with it. Yeah. If it makes you, I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm at my happiest when I'm doing. So, I just bought my daughter a freaking brand new Honda Accord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't get a brand new car when I was a kid. That made me happier than making $100,000 the next day.
Mm-hmm. Or it's like what you said about what you want for your family. It's going to make you happy giving that to them.
Fulfilling, giving them what you wish you would have been able to.
And it's like my wife. She's like, oh, I don't want to take pictures and put it on Facebook, you know, because people might feel some kind of way. Man, fuck them people. Yeah, I don't give a shit what them people think. Seriously, I don't care. And that's the biggest thing. People are like, oh, I don't give a shit what somebody thinks about me. I don't care. If you don't like me, that's your problem. It's not my problem. Because I still like me.
Yeah, like
as long as the person looking back at me in the mirror, and when I don't like me, then I have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my dad always was big on like making sure like no one knew if I like made good money or not, and like you know how many times
my dad's the same way right now.
Or if I'm with friends, bro, and I bring up anything about me making, you know, a certain deal with something, he's like, make sure you don't bring that up. You know what I mean? And it's just like, bro, like you know what I mean? I don't. It don't matter. And like, maybe if I get a new car, like when I got my Shelby, and gets people my DMs like, yo, like, you think God would approve you getting that car? I'm like, all right, bitch. Like, what are you doing with like, where's your money going? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it pisses me off because I'm like, bro, like, whatever's between me and God's between me and God. You got no input into it. That's how I see it. And like, it's crazy, bro.
It's the log thing that we. Remember when I first came, it was the pastor was talking about something with the log. Like if you have a log in your eye, before you try to take the speck out of somebody else's eye, take the log out of your own. So many of these Christians, I get bashed for being a fake Christian. These perfect Christians who have nothing wrong with them apparently, and they just feel that like they have the authority to tell me what I'm doing wrong because my life's on a platform. Many little things. Oh, you got a tattoo, Alex? That's against Christian. You cursed, Alex. That's against being a Christian. I'm really questioning if you even love Jesus. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, like it pisses me off. Yeah. You know what I mean? The thing. It's people they're living a life through a screen, right? So they only see like certain specs of who you are. Mm-hmm. But like, take for instance, some like Steve or me or whoever the case may be, who is around you a lot more than others are. They don't get to see that side of you. You know what I'm saying? And like you said earlier, like your social life is nowhere to be found. Like there's very few times where you really can take a second to just chill. You know, like, especially in my eyes, like every time I've been around you or with you, it's always go, 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 go. And I always make fun of him for how fast he walks, but it's like or how fast he drives. Yeah. But like everything that's in his life right now is just like go, 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 go. There's no stopping.
I don't like wasting time.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to somebody, who am I to question what you really are? I just because you do one thing, that's the biggest thing. Like again, I'm not. It's not like I'm not a holy roller. I do believe in God, but I don't push him on anybody. But who are you to question if somebody is a real Christian? Well, I mean, doesn't it say in the Bible, if you're a real Christian, doesn't it say God should judge that person?
That's what I'm saying.
So who are you to judge?
But the thing is, they won't judge the positive things that I do or the good things I bring to the community, the good things I try to do with even being open about my faith. But the thing is, me being open about my faith is putting me in a position to where I can get bashed for it. So sometimes I would even, when I get really down bad, I question like, yo, why am I even trying to push this faith thing if all everybody's going to do is trying to shit on me and use it against me? But I realize like it's for a bigger cause. It says in the Bible that Jesus was going to say, if the world hates you, it's because they hated me first. Yeah. That's a verse, and I remember that. I understand. Yes, that's true. I know I'm going to be people are going to try to crucify me for just even just showing people that I'm a Christian. They're going to try to find ways to invalidate it but yet they'll ignore all the good that I try to do through it. You know what I mean? They just focus on the bad.
There's not many people in this industry, at least that I've seen, or really any industry, that are very vocal about their beliefs and their religion. As much as you are, at least. Like I'm not even.
People are scared to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like people are scared to say, "Oh, I like this president or that president," because it's like cancel culture is real. It's a real thing. Yeah. You say one thing and it's like, "Oh, dude, this guy's. I knew it. I told you, he's fake. I knew it. It was just a matter of time before we got him. Now we got him."
Like people don't see.
It's not that serious.
People don't see these Bible studies I do. Yeah. You know what I mean? People are like, "Oh, like are you even a real Christian?" Like you don't see these Bible studies I gain nothing from, but I try to join literally as often as I can, just to talk to maybe a few, anywhere from sometimes there's 30 kids, sometimes there's 100. And some kids will ask if they don't know much about the faith, and I'll talk to them. Or atheists will come in, and I'm proudly willing to talk to them about any questions or concerns they have about my faith. But social media doesn't see that. Y'all don't see that, but I still do it because I believe in it. You know what I mean? I gain nothing from that.
So I'm not even Christian, but like it scares me, like the things that you're going through right now, like being very vocal about your religion, like. Obviously, like I'm Middle Eastern, so people already know, like, or have a previous connotation that I'm Muslim, and I am, and I'm proud to be one. But it scares me because, like, if I were to be vocal about, like, FouseyTube, for example, like he was very vocal about being a Muslim, and like he made Muslim-oriented videos, and that was like his thing. And then the second he like snapped out of it or like deviated away a little bit,
from his faith, they come at him.
It was terrible. Like. And now he's doing his other stuff, but he doesn't even mention it anymore because it got that bad.
Probably afraid.
Yeah, it got that bad to that point that like he doesn't even mention it anymore. And that's what scares me is that like I'm one with my faith. I'm very like I do things very privately and like I try to be strong in my own faith, but it scares me to be vocal about it because like obviously I see how it's affected you. You know, it's making you question things. You know,
I'm bad,
dude. I like at Christmas. Remember, I'm like I got gloves, I got hats and stuff. And let's go get some food, and we'll make content with it. And he's like, "No, I'll go with you and do it, but I'm not filming." I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah, I remember that.
Why?
I don't want to film
because I don't want to be a sellout. I'm like, it's not a sellout, dude. And I tried to explain to him about the same thing. It's like, bro, you doing it, and at such a you have like almost 1 million followers, but so
it's crazy.
But you doing that. Maybe if only 10 people the next day are pulling through, Dunkin' Donuts, and they see a guy over there who's, cold or hot or whatever, and they grab something, they pull over and say, "Hey man, listen, God bless you," and they give you, or don't even say God bless you. Here, thanks. Acknowledge the fact that hey, I see you, right?
Acknowledge that they exist.
Hopefully everything works out. I say God bless you, but you can say whatever you want. You don't have to say God bless you, but just again, maybe that puts that person who really isn't thinking about that, because let's be honest, I don't think about homeless people very often until I ride by one and see it, right? Yeah. And if I do, I'm in like a hurry, and I'm like, yeah, all right. When I circle back, if he's still there, I'll hook him up.
Yeah.
But then I drive back by and I'm like, and I'm just being honest.
Yeah, you never know. You never know how much that can affect somebody's life. Like for me,
it does a ton, man. It does a ton.
Like suicide is it's been very big in my life. Because my best friend took his life when I was a freshman in high school. And then I obviously like throughout the years, like I've dealt with my own questioning of my own worth and whether my life was worth it or not. But that's why like I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, regardless if they hate on me or whoever the case, like whoever it is. Like I know that there's people that are going through things that they don't vocalize, and so they try to spew that onto other people at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to respond with love. You have to, like, regardless of whether they say like, "Oh, fuck you," like you're not a good person, you're not this, you're not that. You never know what they have going on in the inside.
100%.
That's in what I've seen of me. I remember when I first made my first life story video, I was like, bro, this video is going to do so shit. But I was like thinking when I was doing, I was like, if this saves one person's life by me being open about my past and the things I went through, then it was all worth it. And I remember I uploaded that video and it was doing really good. In the comments, bro, people saying, because people don't realize that everybody's goes through shit like this.
Yeah.
But then they see like, oh, they looked up to me for my lifting, and then like, but they've been suffering with depression too, and they say, oh shit, Alex had depression too, but look where he's at now.
Yeah.
It gives them hope and motivation. I did a second like life story like 8 months later, being 3 times as more successful I was in the last one, showing people how it can be done. You can go through these events and turn out, as long as you push through it. And again, the comments, bro, like literally, like I mean, in my basement, I got comments all over my wall printed because that stuff gives me worth, and it gives me purpose, and that's what I swore was really helped me with my like anxiety and depression, was finding my passion and finding my purpose and being able to kind of commingle them, saving lives and or bringing others to Christ, whatever it may be, through like doing this cool fitness stuff, which was like my passion. I like going to the gym. And
I never told you this, and I feel like this is probably a good time to say it, but back when I first met you last year, around this time, I think like March-ish, May or April-ish, like I was going through the absolute darkest times of my life, right? And I remember when I first watched you Twitch stream, like for those that don't know, that's how me and him met, is he had like 5-6 viewers on a Twitch stream, and I decided to play with him, and then we played for however countless nights. But I was in the absolute darkest times of my life, and when you asked me to come out here to Maryland, I was like, yo, what? Like, I was fresh out of high school, or like a year prior to that, but I was fresh out of high school, lost pretty much all my friends that I had, was going through the absolute worst depression of my life, and the fact that you took a chance on a kid that you'd never met in your entire life from Florida, from a completely different state, and be like, hey, come stay with me for the weekend. Like that, as as crazy as it might sound, it saved a big part of me, like I didn't have anybody to like take a chance on me and be like, yo, like I appreciate you for who you are, because my high school experience was terrible, man. It was awful. I hated my life, I hated myself, I hated everything about me. And then somebody like yourself, regardless of the follower count you had, you were like, oh, I noticed this kid and I think he has some worth in him. Like I appreciate him for who he is, and he's a cool kid, whatever the case may be. I just want to be friends with him. That went so far. And I think that's one thing that obviously I know you do, but like a lot of people I think should do more of, just extend a hand, because you never know if people have had that hand in their life before.
That's facts.
People, you never know.
Facts.
You never know if people have had that experience before and have had that hand extended out to them, regardless of whatever they've gone through in life, and you've done that for so many people. It's very admirable, very admirable.
It's I can think of one point. So, I mean, I agree with that. Yeah. But it's like you have to be careful who you let in too, because
absolutely,
not everybody is coming in for the right reason.
Absolutely,
So I'll never forget. I mean, this was back. We're going to take it back for a minute. It's like there was this guy who, and it doesn't matter who it was, just real quick. So he basically, it was like the first time somebody ever shit on him, and he was like, this and this, and
wait, what?
And it was a. So you're gonna make me say the name.
No,
I don't want
say
to.
the name. Don't say the name.
But it was a supplement company, and this guy was like, oh, this kid, this and this kid don't know shit, and da. Don't say no names, but and then I'm like, and he's like, and then 2 days later, he's like, oh, but guess what? Why don't you call me up, because I can make you a program and I can tell you about these things. And then next thing you know, you find out, oh, he owns a supplement company. Oh yeah, hey, why don't you come over here and let's talk about, you don't remember this?
I'm so confused right now.
I won't say anything,
bro. And then the guy made this basically like a video saying that you didn't know shit, and then next thing you know, he's like trying to get you to come over and sell his supplements. It was a supplement company. See, that's how bad his memory is. And I was like, and I told him, I'm like, that video, like I looked the guy up, and again, I don't follow shit on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all new
this
to me.
is a while ago.
But I'm looking at him like, and I told him, I said, within 3 days, this dude reaches out to you and tells you that he wants to work with you, and he wants to help you, and he wants to do this, and it wasn't even 2 days later.
There's a lot of motives, you know.
But and that's the thing. It's like, but a lot of people.
That's where it gets lonely,
and that's why you got to be careful. It is.
It's lonely, bro, because I don't know who to. Bro, it really is. I don't know who to trust, and even this comes from whenever I go to pursue my next relationship, whatever it may be. It's like, man. Now I gotta worry about, is she with? Yeah. She's gonna see I got 2 nice ass cars in the driveway. Yeah. She's gonna be like, oh, he's got money. Let me get. Let me like. Or like, oh, he's almost got 1 million followers on Instagram. Yeah. Like it gives, because it makes them feel like value, because they can go flex it to somebody, whatever the reason may be. So I'm like, damn, I gotta.
Hoping he don't get married till he has like 20 million.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too much drama with him.
I gotta worry about that. Like, what is your actual motive? Do you actually like?
You never know if they're wanting to get something out of it. You know, it's not. They're like, oh, does he do they actually like me for me? Or
not
like
looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. I'm gonna have to it's gonna have to. They're gonna have to go like an interrogation.
Lie detector test.
I'm gonna have to have them like, that ass.
Sign that prenup.
Hell yeah. With the prenup.
100%. Whatever woman I marry in life is getting a prenup. She's signing that, or I ain't doing it. It's just I'm protecting, my word. One thing I wanted to mention before we end this too is, bro, what I've been seeing, what we were talking about, like people like hating and stuff, is, bro, a lot of these guys who are on like a lot of gear, like a lot of the I've seen a lot of the hardcore bodybuilders are like my biggest haters, bro. I feel like it's because they see me doing so well, like being one of the most trending guys in the industry, but like about to hit a million, because I'm natural. So I'm not, I've never taken anything. Yeah. No matter what people want to say, I don't care if you believe me or not. Okay, I'm natural. If you don't believe me, I really don't give a shit.
I look at him and I'm like, why do people think he's taking steroids? I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like I look at somebody like my.
The camera cut off. So what basically we were saying is Steve was saying how I look natty because I'm natty when I don't have a pump, when I'm not in the gym. But then when I'm in the gym, like you saw me, we went to the gym, and you said I looked like really good.
I ain't say all that.
He was saying without a pump, or with a pump, he looks crazy. He looks like the Incredible Hulk.
So, like I was telling his dad, I'm like, he's the most normal looking big kid, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain. The first time when I went to the gym with you, I mean, that was like an eye opener too, because every freaking person at the gym, I'm like, bro, we're supposed to be here for like 45, 50 minutes. Yeah. And it's like, hey, can I take a picture? Hey, can I do? I'm like, damn, bro, what the fuck? This
happened yesterday. We were walking. He was walking in front of me. And I shit you not, it was like, I was looking behind him. There was like 4 or 5 eyes that just tracked him as he was walking. I was like, bro, you got some fucking heat seekers on the back of your head right now. Like,
but yeah, I mean, like, like I said, it was like, I'm like, he starts lifting, and I'm like, it's like he's, I don't know, this sounds fucking crazy, but it's like it's like the Incredible Hulk. It just goes, all the fucking veins start popping out, and I'm like, holy shit, man! Like I said to his dad the next day, I said, dude, I didn't realize he was that big. And and then you hear like a lot of people like, oh, he knows how to use the angles. and
that's what bodybuilding is. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows how to use the angles, and he knows how to use the light. And like, yeah, okay. I can fucking guarantee you can't make me look like that. If you can, I mean, I got some money for you. Come, let's do it.
Again, it comes. I swear, like the people who are saying like, "Oh, it's just the angles," or like they'll see a picture of me like with no pump out of the gym, and they'll be like, "Oh, look how like he looks small." Like you can definitely tell he's natty. But then on the other hand, like I said, they'll turn around and be like, "Oh, he's definitely on gear," or like he overly edits his pictures when I look really good. Because again, it comes from insecurity, because people want to find a way to invalidate my physique and what I look like, so that they can feel better about them not being able to achieve it. This goes for the clout, the following that I have, my physique, everything. And like I said, if you don't agree that, it's because you have a God complex. It's either that or whatever it may be. And again, people, I think even me saying that might trigger some people, and the people who are probably triggered, you're probably one of the people I'm talking about right now. Yeah. And again, like if you want to say like you invalidate my physique, whatever may be, come see me in real life. Let's go to the gym. Let's go in the posing room, and we can just pose off right there, and you let me know what you think about my physique if it looks different on social media.
But this reaction you're having right now is what they want.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you,
I understand.
If you can do better, go do it. This, and then this goes for the social media stuff too. Like people saying, like, oh, they're thinking I don't deserve it because, like I said, a lot of these guys who are on hella gear who compete, like the big bodybuilder guys are the ones who like a lot of those guys tend to not like me.
Yeah,
because they see me being like smaller, not a huge guy, but being very successful in the world they wish they could be successful in. Like if you think you deserve more than me, like go get it.
Do it.
Like go get it. Like go do it. And if you can't, then
that's on you.
Sucks for you. There must be something wrong.
You know no matter what you do, if you're every actor, I mean, they've all on some scale of experienced somebody saying, "This guy ain't shit. He doesn't look that good. He's not this. He's not that." But at the end of the day, it's like I look at somebody like you, and I'm like, listen. If you want me to build you a house, I'll build that shit. You want me to build you a strip mall? Yeah, I can do that too. You want me to go to the gym? Fuck that. I'm not doing that because it's not the reality. It's not what I enjoy to do. And I think that's like the biggest thing is like everybody, like, you know, I remember when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym. Now, you go to the gym a couple of days. I'm like, fuck this. This shit hurts, bro. Yeah. This ain't for me. But I think that, you know, I look at people like, what's the guy? I watched this story one time. It was on YouTube. And it was the guy was like, I liked the story. It was called, what the hell was that guy's name? It was called The Man Whose Arms Exploded.
I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
What the hell? Greg Valentino was his name. I've heard the name. Dude, and his story is it's an awesome story, right? Because it has like everything. It's got like the drugs, the steroids, the hot chick, the drugs, the dealing the drugs. Like could be. I mean, he could make a fucking movie out of that story. I mean, they kind of did, but you know. At the end of the day, it's like that when I watched that story and that guy said, he's like, you know, when all the kids, he went like in the summer, he went to the beach with his family, right? But all the kids, the normal kids, like they were at the beach and he was at the fucking gym.
Yeah.
Like that guy grinds, he gets up, he goes to the gym. That's what he enjoys to do. And it's like people, again, I'll go back to it's like people like, why do you work so much? For me, it doesn't feel like I'm working.
Yeah.
There's nothing better there's nothing that makes me feel better. And I mean anything in the world that makes me feel better than making a deal, putting a deal together. Whether it's selling something, buying something, that's what I enjoy doing. That shit, like, it drives me.
Fills you, yeah.
I love it. There's nothing in the world that's better to me. I love the dealing. Like, I love that. You know, when I go to, I love that shit. Like, that's what I live for. And, I mean, I think that's a huge part of my success in anything that I've got into is because I love it. I live it. I eat it. I breathe it. Same way you do with this. But there's tons and tons of people that, you know, they're like, oh, you know, yeah, he does this or he does that.
They can't do it themselves.
Wait, listen. You get the same 24 hours in a day that I get. Mm-hmm. The only difference is you choose them. You use them differently than I do. You choose to do what you do, and I choose to do what I do.
Yeah.
And listen, you know, it's like real estate. These people, like, they'll watch these people on YouTube or TV or late at night. I'll teach you how to go get money and get deals and do. I'll teach you how to do that shit for free. It ain't that hard. You know what I mean? It's if you can add and subtract. You can buy and sell houses. You can do the same thing with cars. You don't have to pay somebody, right? There's so much free knowledge. I mean, shit, you can watch YouTube and you can figure anything out.
Of stuff.
But I mean, there's nothing that you can't figure out. But for people to spend $20,000 and $30,000 and invite people to these big, you know, convention centers and say, "Oh, if you come here, I'm going to show you how to buy this or do that." The reality is, can you buy real estate without money? Yeah, you can. You can come borrow money from somebody like me who's going to charge you 10%. You know, the only benefit of doing that is that I'm going to make sure your deal is a good deal because I don't throw good money at bad money. Yeah. So there is a benefit from doing that. But you still have to find the deal. And that's the biggest thing and the hardest part of the whole thing. Got to find the deal. And it's right now it's hard, dude. It's almost impossible to buy houses, cars, everything is so inflated. I mean, I just fill my truck up. It cost me $215 to put that.
That's ridiculous.
Yo. Wonder why that is.
But you know what? Ridiculous. I mean, you could say it's the president. You could say it's this. You could say it's that. As far as politicians, I believe they all have a hidden agenda.
They're all fucked up.
It's not that you pick the best person for the job. You pick the best of the worst for the job.
Yeah.
It's election day is not. It's not really an election day. It's a raffle. You know what I mean? It's an auction. Whoever pays the most. That's how I look at it. But I don't think one person in or one person out is going to make. It's not one single person that's going to make that big of a difference.
I just want my gas to be cheaper. That's it.
Yeah, well,
I want my gas to be like $3.15.
If you get a bus pass, you can get a bus pass for like $30 a month.
I ain't trying to pay $80 to fill up my damn car.
Yo, I was gonna say, bro, like when it comes to grinding, bro, like these 4 things are like I'm actually happy I bought them. Can they see those two? I don't know. So basically, these say what these two. Can you read these two?
Grind and focus, and then those. And what do they
say under them?
So the grind says push through to achieve your goals, and then focus says
follow one course until success.
Yeah,
what do those two say?
Execute says dream, plan, implement, and execute. Or what does that say? Achieve.
Also says dreams I got worth more than my sleep.
Yeah.
That's fact. Like, those are 4 great words that people can try to learn to live by. And like I feel like one thing I've realized when it comes to why I'm so successful at a young age is because I developed this different type of but I've also like I've had this different mindset. I swore I was always different than everybody else. I recommend reading Outwitting the Devil.
We've
great
talked
book.
about that a lot, yeah.
About like these drifters. That's what the Outwitting the Devil book talks about. These drifters and a lot of these kids. Bro, I remember I went to go drop off my boy at a party in a college town in Towson one night, and I was like, yo. Hella people out going to bars. I'm looking at these people like, yo, like y'all really like are just floating through your life. Like you're not even you're just in your present moment. You don't care about anything. Just you going to the bar to get drunk, maybe to go home and go sleep with somebody. You know what I mean? And repeat that process.
You're wasting you're wasting energy in a space that has nothing to benefit.
I just don't get how people can be okay with that. Like like that to them, like in the moment is like satisfying them. Like these guys are all like NPCs. Like these guys are just like drifters. And I'm just like, y'all, like, what are y'all doing with your life? And I'm like the same age as them, and I'm like on this whole different wavelength of like, oh, I need to be doing this. I need to be doing this. I need to achieve this. I need to do this. And I swear I've always had that mindset from early on. Yeah. And like if you want to be like on that next level of success, money, whatever it may be, you need to like have these things. Yeah. You gotta be on that.
Another thing too is that like everybody that's like successful in their life, it's kind of bad to say this, but they're not always there in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like
you gotta be nuts.
Yeah, you gotta be kind of crazy. Like, you have to be delusional. Like I said earlier, you have to be delusional in your own self belief. Yeah. But like you were saying about the drifters thing, for me, like partying, the drinking, I've never drank, never smoked, never done any of that in life, and I never plan to. But like anytime I ever say that to anybody,
this guy's gotta go home, bro. He's boring.
Anytime I ever say that to anybody, I'll get like the occasional like, what do you do? Like what else do you do? Type of thing. But like on a Friday night, like what's fun to me is like playing Xbox with my homies.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Playing COD with
Building
the boys.
some Lego sets.
Yeah, but like
you know
exactly. Like going out and like I've been in those. I've been in those environments before, and I mean, obviously my anxiety is bad, but like past that, it's like I look around and I'm like, what do you benefit from this? You know, like what do you get out of like besides like for instance, like
dumbfounded.
You take the alcohol away and people are sober. It's like, all right, what do we do now? Type of thing. You know, I'm just looking at a circus. You know, that's how I put it. I'm looking at people that are like, yeah, exactly.
That's literally what they are. Just like, wow. I'm like, how do y'all like? You're like, it literally like when I look at kids I grew up with in high school, I'm like, wow.
Yes,
like,
yes.
How are you like living like that?
Did you vocalize this opinion to people though? Did you vocalize this like proudly to people when you were in high school? Like that, like what the hell are y'all doing?
No, I just lived through it. See, I did. I'd go in the bathroom, see all the kids vaping in the bathroom. Like, yo, you guys are idiots. Like you guys, like, what are you doing? Like this is cool to you?
I did though, and people thought I was fucking crazy. Yeah, you know, like people
are like the rest.
Yeah, like cool. Freshman year, I got invited to like every party known to man. Like everybody loved me my freshman year, and then as the years went on, it was like. I just was like, I don't like this. Like, I would tell close friends of mine, like, yo, like, what are y'all doing? Like, this isn't good for you, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, I was very empathetic. And I was very, like, caring for other people.
They probably just made fun
They didn't give a shit.
Shit.
They got mad at me for saying these things. And so, like, as the years went on, I started getting invited to less and less things. And then I was like, okay, now I understand.
I never got invited to shit. And, like, ever since I've, like, been popping, bro, I still get, like, some of these kids who, like, I was, like, somewhat friends with hit me up all the time. They all the time bugging the shit out of me, and I don't even have the time. Like I said, I have no social life. I don't have the time to go out to get lunch with you just to talk about some rain. I don't have the time to do that. You don't want to do that with me back when I had no clout or no money, whatever it may be, and I've made something of myself. Now you want to have a part of it.
It's very eye-opening. Like there's many people in my life that like, especially just now, like within these past few months, that I would have thought would have been like kids I grew up with, like I've known for my pretty much my whole life, like. there's people that in my life that I would have thought would have supported me throughout all of this, and then I find out that they're saying things behind my back,
low-key hating,
or plotting on my downfall. Envy. But this is the thing, right? They're so, it's not the fact that they're gonna say like, oh, you changed or whatever the case may be, but they're just upset that you're no longer here with them. You're here and they're staying down here because this is where they're comfortable.
They want to drag you down.
They're complacent. Yeah, they're complacent in where they are.
Damn.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Damn right.
That's the truth. I mean, there's no truer saying.
It's so sad though. Like it hurts me to a core. And I'm sure it's probably hurt you a lot in the past. Like with kids that you probably grew up with and were like, oh, this kid was like, good to me or whatever the case may be. And you see them change the way they look at you, Yeah.
It's like, I never really had like a big group. But
my real estate in my head's too expensive. I don't let people, you can't afford to rent in my head. So I don't care about what people think of me. I know that, I mean, so I always say,
you gotta put the mic closer.
I always say, there will be a lot of people. There won't be a whole lot of people that come to my funeral and say, "Oh my God, he was such a great guy. Like this guy is like, oh my God, man, what are we gonna do without Steve?" They ain't gonna do that. But what they will say is, if he liked you, he'd do anything in the world for you. If he didn't like you, he wouldn't do shit for you. But you knew either way. I never played a 50 with anybody. I always keep it 100 with you. If you don't like me, that's fine. But I'm not going to lie to you. It's like that's the biggest thing with like all these companies and brands that we do deals with.
That's why I need him.
I won't. I'm not gonna lie to you and say, oh, Alex is gonna do 25 TikToks or 83 Instagram posts, because like deliverables and shit. I was like, what the fuck is a deliverable? What are you trying to get something delivered to the house? Like, I didn't know what that was, right? Yeah. So, but I look at that shit and I'm like, Alex, can you do that? And he's like, no, can you do that? Yeah. Nah, that's a lot. Okay, well then, but I think I could no, because I always tell him like, always never over promise. Yeah. Anybody anything, right? I would rather say no. I don't think I can do that. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna try to do it, but I think this is kind of where I need to be at. I would rather under promise and over deliver, and I think that most companies would rather you just be upfront and say, look, that's not realistic for me. It's too much time. I think that it's like really like in a lot of these companies like that he gets involved with, but they try to get involved with them. They're like, yeah, we want you to do this, and we want you to when you go to the mall, we want you to like pull it out and be like, hey, smile, and like that's so like it's never fake. Gonna happen.
I'm not doing that.
And that's the thing. It's like, again, dude, this kid gets us so much money. Like I wish I could just get a little bit of that money, but it's so much money is just left on a table because it's just not a good fit. It's not enough time. It's not worth it.
No. Yeah, and that's where all these sellouts, like what people will sell out, like in their careers, is that like they'll accept things just because of the number, and it's something that they don't genuinely like.
I can't fault them people because I'll do that shit too.
I mean,
no, I'm telling you the truth. Like somebody offers me 20. I mean, I'm not gonna go into what it was. Somebody offers me $25,000 to do something that's only gonna take me 35 minutes. That's a lot of money. Hey, look, I have money and I'm gonna make that shit happen.
You give some top for 25 grand if it took 30 minutes?
You're crazy, bro. I'm not doing no shit like that.
You just said
you giving top for $1 billion, Steve?
I'm not. $1
billion?
Not for nothing. Not for motherfucking the whole United States. It'll never happen. It's disgusting.
How much are we talking?
$1 billion?
$1 billion?
There is no number.
No, I would never. I would never.
It's $1 billion.
Yeah, I'd want it. No, hell no.
That's generational wealth.
It don't matter. I'd have to live with myself knowing I did that for $1 billion.
He'll do that shit for a Happy Meal, bro.
Yeah. Facts. That's Joey.
I thought you don't lie,
Joey
bro.
Oh, I would not. I genuinely would.
Lie detector. Next podcast, lie detector.
That'd be fun.
We're flying you up again.
Yeah.
Lie detector.
It's gonna be a long ass video. Like we're supposed to do an hour. We're about to be double already.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just gonna do outro. All right. Again. Yo, first one. Give us some tips. Let us know what you like, what you not like. Do you want it to be shorter? Do you want it to be longer? What's the time span you guys like? Let us know some topics you guys want to see in the next one. This is kind of just like we were just gonna talk about random shit in the first one just to see what was gonna come out. It flowed pretty well, so let us know what you guys thought. Because we want to keep doing these. So if you want to make sure these keep popping, like the video, subscribe, engage with the video, so it pushes it in the algorithm more. But again, I plan on putting these on Spotify and Apple's podcasts, whatever, in the future. start on YouTube for a little bit, see how it goes. Maybe we'll push towards doing that. But let us know what you guys want to see. Give feedback. I need feedback so I can make it the best possible thing ever. But yeah, that's it. So I'll see you guys, I think, next Saturday. The goal is to upload every Saturday. If not, maybe we'll do even more. So we'll see. All right. Let me see. What does this sound do again? Yeah, stupid. Stop playing with me, bitch. All right. Until next time.
Hold on. Let me get a shout out.
What?
Shout out Bradley Martin. Shout out my daughter Sarah for graduating.
Yeah.
Shout out Big Steve from Raw Gear.
Shout out Big Oz 450 and Dragstar JoJo.